How's it going, listeners? This is Link, and you are listening to Lynk-On Media Podcast. Today I got AJ. He's back again. How's it going, man?
What up? What up? It's good. I'm doing well. Everything is going well for the time being. Glad to
Yep.
be back. It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm not. It's already what? Where are we March right now, or we're at the tail end of
The
February,
tail
so
end of yeah,
I won't say Happy New Year.
yeah.
I think
Oh,
we're.
speaking of which, I must say because I don't think I messaged you on the day, but happy anniversary,
Oh
happy
yeah,
first
thanks,
wedding
man.
anniversary. Yeah, yeah, that's a
Thanks,
big
man.
deal.
Thanks.
So yeah, still
Yeah,
salty
yeah,
that I
yeah.
couldn't have been at your wedding, but life
Oh
was
yeah.
lifing at that point. But most importantly, y'all made it, and I'm glad to see that y'all are doing well.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Maybe when we do a next one, uh you could probably go to that one. I plan
Yeah.
on I plan on doing a couple more.
All right. All right.
I
All right.
already told her about it. She's like, "Okay, Daryl, whatever." All right, so since the year just started, this is the first podcast that came out with this year.
Hmm.
It's the first one for 2030. 2030.
Or
I'm
ahead,
ahead of
my boy.
everybody.
Right?
I'm so ahead of the game. 2023, the first show of 2023.
Hmm.
And so far there's been several things that has happened. The Super Bowl just happened, go wait, who's the team that won again? Shit.
The Chiefs. The Chiefs.
The Chiefs. Who I'm a big fan of Mahone now. Is that his name?
Mahomes.
Mahone?
Mahomes.
Mahomes,
Mahomes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Go light skin forever, man. Like
Yeah.
that is a quarterback. That is a quarterback that's
Yeah.
starting to get like I don't follow football that well, but
Yeah.
I'm instantly a fan now because of that guy.
He's
Um
incredible, to be honest.
yeah. So we're gonna talk about one of the big things
Mhm.
that happened in the Super Bowl, which was like at the time of this recording, it's a couple weeks before, but we didn't
Mhm.
get a chance to talk about it. The biggest thing about it is, well, obviously Rihanna's belly, how it, um, everybody's expecting her to come out with a new album, but then they realize that she's pregnant again.
Yeah, because I mean the man's name is ASAP, so
That's what I said.
after one comes two, bro. Ain't no playing around here.
Yo, I try to quickly post that because I
Yeah.
know a thousand people are going to make that joke
That was
within,
the exact same thing I said right afterwards too, though.
yeah, I had to post it like real quick on
Yeah.
Instagram. So, like, yeah. And I do like how the layout of the performance, it looked like a
Mhm.
Mario level.
It did. It did. It actually
Yeah.
did remind me of that for real. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
did.
definitely, like, I could just see like Goombas and shit and power-ups and all that sort of thing. So yeah, pretty good performance. People were like, "Wait, is she pregnant? She's not really moving around a lot, like, but she just had the baby. Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious. That going in. Speaking of Mario, Mario is one of um the movie ads that sort of came during the Super Bowl. There was a
Hmm.
TV spot for Fast and Furious, Indy 5, Mario, Scream 6, Dungeons and Dragons, The Flash, which is a Batman movie starring two Batmans and two Ezra Millers. But nobody's
Mm,
studying Ezra. We're studying the two Batmans. So
makes sense.
which one came out to you, like, struck you that you wanted to see, or you're like, okay, why are they making another one?
You mean of the
The
Marvel
Super
or
Bowl
the
TV spots.
um what they make? I mean, did I what was it? Wait, what were the ones you just mentioned actually? It was the you know what? Okay, I'm lying. You know what actually struck me as that? It wasn't even those. It was the Indiana Jones.
The Indiana Jones, right?
It was the Indiana Jones, yeah. It
Why
was
that one?
yeah, I couldn't be honestly, Link, I was looking at it and I was actually confused because I'm like, nah, wait, this can't be another indie movie. Like I thought it was no, I thought it was Harrison Ford pretending to be Indy for it, like as a commercial to advertise something. Yeah, not for real. Because I'm like, nah, seriously. Um. So yeah, I don't know that I'd be very intrigued to see that. That's just me personally. I'm not trying to shit on the movie or anything like that, but that is the one that I definitely had that kind of reaction. Like, no, wait, this can't be. Like, I honestly, I was confused watching it.
Yeah, it did look like he was going to turn to camera and say, "It's a good thing I paid my car insurance." You
Right
know,
there.
it's like,
You know,
like
like
it's one.
something like that. I was expecting something like that. I was expecting something like that, but
Like
not to see that it was a legit, a whole new indie movie. I'm like, okay, okay,
yeah,
I'm
so
Googling this.
it's a whole new indie movie, directed by the guy who did Ford versus Ferrari,
Mm,
the last Logan movie, the
okay,
Logan, basically the name of.
yeah.
But he's been doing like really good movies for years. So
Okay.
I like the director. His name's James Mangold. He's fantastic, but at
What's
the same
James
time, it's
Mangold?
like, I mean, he's 80, so
Hold
there's going to
on.
be a lot of
Yeah,
CGI work.
yeah.
I from the looks of it, there's going to be time travel because they de-aged him.
Mm,
So there's some of that nonsense. And I
hmm.
mean, I wasn't crazy about the Shia LaBeouf one. So I mean, I'm sure
That's
this
that one
one.
I haven't seen.
It's I mean, I only like it because at the end Indy gets married and then he meets his son, and then they kind of it kind of put like a pin in it. Like if you
Okay,
want to
okay.
end it, you
Yeah,
end it here.
right there, right.
Yeah, but
So you see, now I am even less intrigued about seeing this new one then.
yeah. Well, there you go. I believe for that one, it is the last. I think it's a Hail Mary from Kathleen Kennedy, since
Mm,
she's like on her way out and she wants to leave with something big. And well, I mean, making something new is like people in Hollywood are just allergic to that. So
yeah, pretty
it's the
much.
last thing that she could do. Like, what else can she do at her position? Like, a lot of the stuff weren't good. I mean, nobody saw the Willow show, and that one was kind of.
The what?
There's a Willow show. You know Willow, the old movie with the dwarf from dwarf, the little person from the Ewoks. He was one of the Ewoks, and he Val Kilmer
Ah,
was the main guy in that one. That came out like
oh,
years ago. This is like
uh,
80s we're talking about.
I'm
So that
literally
was like,
just looking it up. I do not know about this. Oh, and
yeah,
Aaron Kellyman was in that as well.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
they made a show, and
Hmm.
it's about like Val Kilmer's daughter, since Val Kilmer can't be there because of he can't even speak anymore
Right.
after
Right.
um after his operation
Hmm.
to take the cancer out. And then they sort of make it like she's kind of like a tomboy. She's basically Ray. Like she's just another
Uh,
Ray. So it's kind of boring. I don't know what it is about Kathleen Kennedy and brunettes, especially brunettes with British accents.
yeah.
It's just everywhere. It's everywhere. Every single Lucasfilm thing is another brunette British woman. Same thing with Indy 4, Indy 5, this new one.
Hmm.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Fleabag. She's another uh brunette
Good to see
white
more. Yeah.
um the white woman, and it's from who's British. So I don't know if
Clearly, she
it's
has a
like
type.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's very
Yeah,
suspicious.
I knew I knew nothing about this show. Though. This is looking at the names here. Even like Christian Slater, I haven't seen that guy in a while. But all right.
Yeah, he's in it. He's in it. I saw like parts of the first episode, and I'm like, nope,
Hmm.
I'm out. This is this is boring. I think fantasy has really taken like a hit, like fantasy TV
Hmm.
shows, like the new Lord of the Rings show, The
Rings of
Witcher.
Power. Yeah.
That kind of go went downhill. A lot of these fantasy shows, they're just so cookie cutter and so bland.
Hmm.
And like I feel like back in when I was growing up, I think fantasy was at an all-time high because of the people who were writing it, and
Right.
the special effects were like more real and all of that. So I don't know, like these new ones just look like a cartoon and they're boring, and I don't know. Like, you ever seen it? You saw the trailers for Dungeons and Dragons, right? With Chris Pine.
I did. I did. It was I honestly don't remember it. I know I've seen it, but I honestly don't remember it. Like
Yeah,
it
it
wasn't
just
memorable to me.
yeah, it looks like just another fantasy thing. Oh,
Yeah.
there's dragons. Oh, there's a warrior woman. All of these. I'm just tired. I'm
The
tired of all
usual,
that.
the same, yeah.
Same old,
The
same old.
same ingredients.
Yeah, just done again and again and again. There
Yeah,
was one
yeah.
there was one scene that I saw which was kind of funny, where they were trying to get information from a dead person. So
Mm,
it's like the wizard in their group
mhm.
has this power to bring back somebody from the dead, and then they have only like four questions to ask that dead person before he goes back and dies. And
Right.
then Chris Pine is like he asks him one question, and then he asks somebody else a question, and the body thinks that it's asking him the question, so he wastes like
I
three
wasted
questions.
question. Uh,
So I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's pretty funny. I think I
yeah.
might check that out.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I, I've never. Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons? Like,
No,
are you into the? Okay.
I'm willing to play it. Like, I've never had people around me that actually play. My younger brother would probably want to play that because he's always into games. So
Right.
that will probably be the only person that I know who would play it.
Mhm.
But yeah.
I mean, I never have either. By the way, was just asking because I don't know. I don't think I know anyone who has, but obviously I've seen it. I watch enough
Because
TV that
I mean, we're black.
yeah. 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 I mean that's a short answer, right? That's a short answer.
We're playing. We were out playing sports, and
Yeah, and we didn't grow up with basements really, so
yeah, we don't have
yeah.
basements in where we're
I
from.
ain't no goddamn way you were playing that in a black family household, not in the middle of the living room and that kind of shit.
Yeah, we
Uh,
had video games. We
yeah,
had
yeah,
bikes. We had the river. We'd
yeah,
go on river lines. Like we spent so much time outside. Like I'm looking back
yeah.
at the amount of time we spent outside compared to how people are now. And I used to be like a homebody, but like every weekend we'd be out.
Yeah,
We'd be out of the
definitely.
house. So
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
was outside was a thing. It was a thing back then, but
Kids
it's a
nowadays would
different
be like
generation.
outside.
Yeah.
What to do a TikTok video?
Pretty much, eh?
Yeah, kids came up to me at work, try to get me on their TikTok to like ask me questions and shit. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, little kid. I don't be on no TikTok. Get out of here.
you please tell me you didn't cuss the kids. Yeah.
No,
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
I did it in my mind
In your
though.
mind. Okay. That's fine.
All right, so Fast and Furious, new one.
Yeah.
That's your favorite franchise.
I still have it. I still haven't finished. I think it's like seven or something like that. The thing is, I actually want to watch it. It's just my docket is already so full of things that I want to see that I just never get around to it. But I'm not. Yeah, obviously, to all the listeners, he was speaking sarcastically.
Yeah,
It is not my favorite thing in any way, shape, or form. I hope you glean that from his tone. But
yeah,
I have since we started discussing this like years ago, I've like opened up a bit more to just
yeah,
accepting it for what it is. So I kind of do want to see it. Um, I think at this stage they know what it is, and the fact that they're still making it, despite like it being like the worst kept secret that this is, for all intents and purposes, a very shitty franchise. They know what it is. So
yeah.
and I've watched every single Sharknado movie, so I don't really have any excuse as to why I can't sit down and watch this. Like just accepting it for what it is, right? So I
Right.
still do want to see it, but It's whenever I'll get around to it though. But I need to start because I feel like I will never catch up.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, you
at
could
first it
skip a
felt
couple
like,
of them to be
oh
honest.
yeah,
Yeah, you really could. Because I'm not I wasn't a fan of the last two. The
okay,
one after what was it? Seven was the last one that I really liked.
okay. That's where
Because
I am
they
right now. I believe it's seven.
yeah,
Pretty sure
that's
it's
the
seven.
one. Yeah, that's the one where they the brothers of Paul Walker had to come in and finish his role for him.
Right, right. So
He
yeah,
passed
it is
away in the
seven.
middle of it. Half the movie not even done yet, and this man passed away. It's so
Yeah.
tragic, but somehow, by some miracle, they put that movie together,
Right.
and it's pretty good. Eight is just another one. I can't remember it. All I
Hmm.
remember about that one is that The Rock, somebody shot a missile at The Rock, and then The Rock kind of kicked it away from him. Like it, when you see it, you'd be like, "Oh, okay, so yeah, I guess that works for that." But I mean, it's really ridiculous when you hear it. Like he
Yeah, yeah.
kicks a
He kicks
yeah.
the
So there's
missile.
that
Okay.
one, and the last one where John Cena is somehow Vin Diesel's brother, and Tyrese and Ludacris went to space in a Datsun, I think.
Oh, that's what it was, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is hilarious. This is so funny. I'm gonna spoil it because I just want you
That's
to
fine.
know what you're getting into.
That's fine because
So,
by the time I actually sit down to watch these, I will not remember what you said. It'll be in a
right.
couple years. I guarantee
Okay,
you.
okay. You might remember this one though.
Okay.
It's pretty out there. Okay,
Yeah.
so the third Fast and Furious movie had a completely new cast. One of them, uh, who's heavily featured in that one is Bow Wow, right?
Yeah.
So big surprise, Bow Wow shows up with the rest of the Tokyo Drift crew, and
uh-huh.
they somehow concocted unex- inexplicably a car with a couple rockets on it that can go into space.
Huh.
So Tyrese and Ludacris, they have to do this mission to go
Yeah.
into space. So they did basically to take down a satellite. You want to know how they took it down? How they took down a satellite?
Oh.
By crashing into it
Wait,
with
wait.
the car.
With so wait. Okay. That's a lot. Wait a minute. So did they sacrifice themselves or did they get oh,
No, they're fine.
they're fine. Okay.
They're fine.
Wow.
What kind of question is that? Of
No.
course they're fine. What do you mean?
I mean, I didn't know if it was even if they died. I mean, it's Fast and Furious, so they'll come back. Even if
Oh my
they,
god. They bring everybody back.
yeah, it's a fucking soap opera. So I
Yeah.
mean, they're gonna come. I mean, you know what? I'm so I that actually piqued my interest. Like I actually want to see it right now. Nah,
It's
I
so
mean,
ridiculous, man. It's so
yeah,
ridiculous.
which
And I
is which
kind of
is why
loved
I'm
it.
like, which is why I'm kind of like, you know what? You just need to accept it for what it is. It like these people are not making this to be like at the forefront of all. They're not making this to win awards for acting or writing or anything like that. They're making
No.
this because there are people that just enjoy this BS. And you know what? Like I said, I'm a fan of the Sharknado franchise because Sharknado is what it is. It is absolute filth. It makes fun of itself. It's satire, and it just makes absolutely no sense. And I love it. So I don't know if I'll love Fast and Furious though because this is supposed to be like B and C listers, and I guess one or two A's. So that's a whole different realm scope, for them to be doing this shit. But so I don't know if I love it, but I can probably still stomach it.
This new one has Jason Momoa in it. He's the
Of
new
course it does.
villain.
Of course it
Yeah,
does.
of course.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to happen at some point.
Yeah, yeah,
At some
yeah,
point,
yeah.
there's certain people that would just show up in this. like
I'm
Clint
pretty sure Roman Reigns is
Eastwood's
going to be the next one or something like that.
Roman Reigns. Who's that?
The wrestler, Rock's cousin.
Oh yeah. I'm sure at some point he would.
Yeah,
Wrestlers would have to show up. I think the only one who won't show up, I think, would probably be Dave Batista because I think
Batista.
Dave Batista is like trying to be an actual actor,
Yeah,
so he's
yeah.
like done with all of this shit. So, but yeah, what's his name? Jason Momoa is the new villain, and I swear to you, if they make him part of the family by the end, I
Yeah.
am done with Fast and Furious. This franchise needs a villain, okay? Like a proper Thanos villain who they need to take out, they need to kill. I mean, Charlize Theron is fine, but Vin Diesel can't fight Charlize Theron.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not gonna work.
yeah. Of
He
course
needs
not.
somebody that he can throw down with. The Rock ain't coming back, so that's out the window. So you have to get somebody physically there
Mm.
with him. John Cena was fine, but they kind of pussied out on that. They kind
Mm.
of, I mean, he's his brother, so
Yeah.
obviously he's gonna join him at the end, and it's like, okay, I saw that already. Fine, whatever. This one, they need to have a proper villain. They need one because how many times is Vin Diesel gonna be like drinking beer with his enemy at the end of the freaking film? Like it's bullshit, man.
uh, Guys, they make these movies like just like an episode, like have a villain in the beginning and then by the end,
But
conflict resolved.
and then they have the sitcom freeze frame, like they cheers in the end
Yeah.
with two, with Coronas. They're like big smile at the end, and then the credits like produced by Vin Diesel and all that, like a freaking sitcom, man.
No, wait, you're exaggerating, right? They didn't actually do that, right?
No, they didn't do that, but they
Okay,
might as
okay.
well. They
Might as
might as well
okay.
do that.
All right, just making
Yeah.
sure. Just making
The
sure.
and the one thing I don't want ever to happen is that they bring back Brian in some kind of way, and I think they're gonna do
Agreed.
that. And it's like I wish they would just like not mention him ever again,
Yeah.
or something along those lines, because it's at this point it's sort of, oh yeah, I just spoke to Brian, yeah, why Brian never comes around, I wonder why, it's we
Mm,
know what's going, like we already had to like deal with his passing in the
right.
real world,
Right.
and these characters like don't know yet or something, you know what I mean? It just feels
Yeah. Yeah.
weird, it just feels kind of weird.
And I guess you completely. And I
Yeah,
agree. I wish they would. Hopefully they do. Just leave that alone. Like
yeah,
leave his character alone altogether.
yeah, I think
They
so.
really don't need to force it. Like you're not. It's not going to affect your storyline. It's not going to affect the trajectory of what you're doing. Just leave it alone.
I agree, I completely agree. All right, so me and my wife, for our anniversary, we went to Universal Studios.
Nice.
We did the studio tour where they
Hmm.
it's kind of interesting how part of that tour is actually in 3D, where I mean you
Hmm.
go through the sets and you see
Mm.
like the wreckage from World War shit, what was it? Not World War Z. Which was the one with no, War of the Worlds, right?
One
That
of the
was the
worlds.
Tom
Okay.
Cruise, Steven Spielberg alien movie
Yeah.
where it's just like an actual plane crash. Like you are watching a plane crash and it's smoking and stuff like that. And then on the other side of the lot, you see the Psycho House. Part of the tour is a 3D representation, like a whole storyline of the Fast and the Furious,
Hmm.
where you have to follow. You're part of the crew basically, and they have to do some mission. I can't really remember the story; it just went by so fast.
Yeah.
But it's like big screens on the side of the bus, right? That you're in,
Hmm.
and you are a part of this big action sequence that's happening, and you're like, and you're there, you're on a hydraulic sort of plateau,
Yeah.
uh, which kind of moves about, and then you're looking left and right and you're seeing the Fast and Furious characters in their cars like talking to each other. There was one part you saw Vin Diesel like hanging off a helicopter, and I thought that was the funniest shit. Like it's so funny. Like he's just hanging out and he's like, "Yeah, family." It's so funny. Like this franchise is just absolute
Yeah,
nuts. And you know
yeah,
it was a long time ago they did that because the Dwayne the Rock Johnson was there and they were still
mm.
friends. So that was fun. If you're in
Just didn't
LA,
get around to editing that.
what?
No, and I'm saying that, and they just didn't get around to editing him out.
Yeah, well, I mean it's old those old rides, they just sort of reuse that stuff. I don't think they would
Yeah,
edit him
yeah.
out or anything like that because I mean, I think he still has stake in the franchise or something. I'm
You
not
know what?
sure.
That wouldn't surprise me though.
Yeah.
He's a businessman.
Yeah. If Logs showed up, so
Hmm.
Logs is for the listeners, he's supposed to be here, but he just remembered that he had a wedding, and if he blew off the wedding to be here, his wife would kill him. So it isn't it if you think it's best to ask for forgiveness instead of the other thing, it's when you're married, not
Permission.
at all.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, I
So I
don't.
think so he had to go, but I would have brought up because I wanted to talk about the three wrestlers that are in
Oh,
movies
right.
right now, the three
Hmm.
top wrestlers right now: John Cena, Dave Batista, and Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Which one is the best one to make their move to movies? Do you have any thoughts on which one?
Um, I it kind of depends on what angle you're looking at it from. Because if you're, and you kind of alluded to it before, if you're talking about with respect to like monetary wise, The Rock utilized the hell out of his brand,
I would
and
say, yeah.
yeah, just from yeah, just from being able to capitalize on their own brand, definitely The Rock. But if you're talking acting ability, and this is what you alluded to before, is Batista like to me hands down as well. Like I don't even think and oh, out of the three, The Rock might be the most one dimensional and repetitive of that trio. Granted, I haven't seen. I feel like you know what? No, I've seen enough from Cena. I don't think that Cena is terrible, but Cena actually showed me a little bit more, I guess, than what I had seen in in his WWE years. I felt like The
Mm-hmm.
Rock is. I feel like the Dwayne Johnson is an extension of The Rock, as in Dwayne Johnson, the actor, is just yeah a more polished Hollywood version of what we saw from Rocky Maivia turn The Rock in the WWF than WWE. Because obviously
Okay.
you have to be more of a character in that. Like you don't want to be too stoic, and especially given his nature and the fact that he became a fan favorite and everything. Like he had to be with all the histrionics and the gimmicks and that kind of stuff. No, as a 6 foot something dude with muscles on top of muscles, you're not going to be that in every single movie in Hollywood. So he's like the new age. Like, who was the main action guy for us in the 90s? It was Stallone, maybe? Either way.
Stallone, Van Damme,
Van Damme.
Schwarzenegger.
Van Damme. And yeah, and Arnie, the Governator.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess he's kind of just like the new age, one of them for the younger generations, for the Gen Zers, possibly. Granted, he has been doing this for a while. And so yeah, I mean, I give him props for that, but I can't really stand to see the guy acting. That's the honest truth.
Yeah,
But
actually,
but
actually,
no, sorry. Just the last thing I was saying. But with regards to Batista, I actually think I would. I don't. I roll my eyes when I see like the Rockets and something like, all right, well, kind of know what to expect. But with Batista, it's more like, let me see what he has this time around. Like I'm actually interested in seeing this movie he has. Is like,
right.
what's the name of it? The cab, the no, oh, Knock on the Cabin Door.
I saw it. I loved it.
You did? Yeah,
I
yeah. I
did.
actually want to see it.
He's
I do want
good.
to see that.
He's so good in it. You know what it is? I think
Mhm.
I like Dwayne Johnson. I think in terms of wrestler turn actor,
Mhm.
he's probably my favorite one, but he's the one that
Mhm.
took the most L's. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there was that one there was that one period where he was just doing a bunch of really kiddie Disney movies, and
yeah,
it was
yeah,
really harming his brand. And there was one where he dressed up like a tooth fairy, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
but then he started doing action movies like Walking Tall, which really utilized his physicality, and
And I actually did
also
like Walking Tall, to be fair to him. Yeah,
he's it's a good one. There's a
yeah.
lot of ones that he did that were really good. I really liked Faster. That one that he came out with.
Mhm.
And there were a few like Scorpion King wasn't that bad. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
bad movie, but it I thought he was fine in.
And then okay.
I mean, it's his first couple of roles that he started coming out with. But now he's sort of in that mode where I think he's trying to be like the Will Smith thing, where it's a movie that's built on his name rather than just him taking a chance. Like
Right,
he doesn't really take much chances.
right.
And I feel like every time he does a movie now, Black Adam included, it just seems like it's built around his name rather than a movie that he is taking part in because he wants to, flex his acting muscles. I just don't I haven't seen that in quite a while of him taking chances. You know what I mean?
My wife and I watched Ballers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as in the entire series. We watched the entire series all the way through. Somewhere along the line, it fell off to me. But I just have this thing like if I give a series so much of my time, I kind of usually want to see how it plays out, how it ends, and all that. So I
Right.
think it was like somewhere in the penultimate season, I started to become a bit disenchanted with it. But I'm like, you know what? Let me just see it through. Um, but one of the main notes I made to Kim afterwards is like this is just kind of because you know that The Rock produced that, right?
Yeah.
And it was I said to her like this was just The Rock kind of wanting to play himself, but elevate himself basically. The entire character that he played, the character that he played in the series was essentially him. But
Yes.
I guess it was him in a sense of things that he didn't get to like fulfill in life. And then it was just okay. So, for example, his character is a retired NFL player. You know the story of him not being able to play. Well, not being able to, but he didn't make the NFL and blah blah blah.
Right. It was
So
Miami, right? He was playing for
that
Miami.
is correct, Miami, and I guess the man doesn't let anything go. So he, in addition to having, well, after playing that character, Spencer Strasmore in Ballers, he bought the XFL. Him and some others have invested in the XFL to bring it back. So, but anyhow, I digress. It was just so the character is a retired Miami Dolphins legend. Um, who's turned into like kind of like a financial advisor for players. And throughout the entire thing, he is just like, don't get me wrong, there are parts when you see like the flaws in his character, like as in through the writing, like what the writers and directors and so want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in terms of like, yeah, his weaknesses as a person and whatnot. But at the end of the day, he always seems to be the one to come through and save the day, like superhero fashion. Like
Right.
and it just kind of felt a bit like, all right, Rocky. So this is what we doing though.
Yeah, it's kind of odd that he would play Black Adam, which it is pretty much a anti-hero.
Right, right.
He's supposed to be the villain of Shazam, and he
Mm-hmm.
would and I don't think he would want to play second fiddle to Shazam, especially as Zachary Levi,
Shazam,
kitty,
yeah.
a funny version of that. It's basically Chuck in a superhero suit. Like Dwayne Johnson's not gonna do that. Like he's not gonna be
Yeah.
some villain in a thing. Like he would want Black Adam. Like I think that's why that kind of fell apart because he was so
I see.
pushing uh for Black Adam to be like the new thing in
Right,
DC. And
right.
I mean, I can't blame him. I mean, Warner Brothers was doing trash at that point. Like
Yeah,
they had no idea what they wanted to do with these things. They would abandon certain things like in the middle of what they're doing. They would cancel things. They would do this and that.
yeah.
Now I think they're doing better
Mm-hmm.
because now they have James Gunn, and they're
Mm-hmm.
actually going to sit down and be like, okay, let's actually map out an actual universe with these characters.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
Build it up from scratch.
yeah, which isn't still, it's not perfect, but I mean, I'll take that rather than whatever it was that was happening before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I digress. Back on Dwayne, I think him and his producers
Mm-hmm.
of Black Adam, they kind of ruffled feathers.
Yeah, that's
And
another one I still
because
haven't seen as yet, but I do want to see it.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
It's not as bad as people would say it is, but
right.
it's not like it. I mean, there's no depth to it. There's not a lot of
Mm.
it's Dwayne Johnson as a superhero, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
So there, it doesn't really add anything to the superhero genre at all. It's just another one of those, which isn't as bad as it was before, but it's not as good. So because they're trying to push this character to be the character of moving forward, even trying to
Mm-hmm.
bring in Henry Cavill for some cred, try to get that Zack Snyder cred. Um, because it didn't make money, it just made it an easier decision to just be like, yeah, okay, so Black Adam, we're done with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it has to make money. And if it isn't making money, then they have to rethink their things. And that
Yeah.
is a pretty good segue to Ant-Man and the Wasp because I think they're 73% down. I think I saw that
Oh,
online somewhere.
right.
Like it's pretty damaging. It's not the worst Marvel movie that ever came out.
Yeah,
They've had really bad ones like even last year, but the fact that they're a lot of people are like, this is what you're leading the next phase with.
right,
This,
right.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because that's the
So
start of the next phase. Yeah.
yeah, and when you factor in all the issues that they have, I mean, I don't know. They're gonna have to like go back to the drawing board on that. Back on the
Mm-hmm.
rock now. I'm getting a little sidetracked. Um,
Okay.
because he tried to strong arm Warner Brothers. I think it did hurt him a little bit.
Let's see.
I think it did hurt him. So
So, what exactly did he do in that respect? Because I don't know the details of it.
yeah, I don't really know the detail. I just know what
Okay.
I've heard online, and
Okay.
basically
Okay.
he was just trying to push his character to
Black
be
Adam. Yeah.
yeah, he was pushing Black Adam. But I mean, he's been on that for how many years now? I remember hearing about this 2014 or something like that. Like it's been a long
Oh,
time.
really? I didn't
Yeah.
even know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it just feels like a waste of time on his
Mm.
part. Like he must be so angry about how this thing turned out. But when Black Adam came out, like DC has already been it already has like a bad it sort of left a bad taste in everybody's mouth the last
Right.
few movies. Like people didn't like the Zack Snyder stuff. People didn't like when they try to course correct and try to make everything like Marvel.
Mm.
And now you're coming up with Black Adam. People aren't going to care. People don't know who that character is. Like it's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only
That's
reason
fair. I get that.
if the Flash makes money, it's because Michael Keaton's in it because of Batman. Because no one's going to watch
Right.
it for
Right.
Ezra. Like
Right,
no one's
right,
gonna
right.
watch it for Ezra. The fact that
Yeah, I'd actually forgotten that minor detail. Like, yeah, Keaton was back, yeah. And that was the reason why I wanted to see that. Thanks for bringing that back to memory. Yeah, that makes
right,
sense now.
exactly.
Yeah,
So I think that was the best trailer in the Super Bowl thing by
yeah, it could
far.
could very well be. Could very well be. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're correct. Yeah,
But it could go either way. It could be like an clusterfuck, or it could be like
yeah,
a pretty good a pretty good time. I don't think it's going to be like great, but I mean,
yeah,
at this point, I don't expect anything to be good. Like Ant Man 3, that didn't surprise me that it wasn't good.
yeah.
It's just it surprised me that it wasn't the worst thing I saw. Like I still think Doctor Strange 2 and
Was worse
Thor
than it?
4. Yeah, I still think those
Okay.
are like the bottom of Marvel right now. Um but back on Batista, what I like about Batista, not only is he's very funny. I remember seeing him in a movie for the first time back when uh Riddick, you remember Riddick? That character that
Yeah,
Vin Diesel used
Chronicles
to
of
play?
Riddick. Yeah.
Chronic Yeah, exactly. Pitch Black.
Mhm.
The
And
third
Pitch Black
one,
was the next one. Yeah.
yeah, the third one was simply called Riddick, and he
Hmm.
was in it, and he had one line, and I
Hmm.
thought that line was pretty funny. So that kind of got me. I was like, because I didn't know Batista too well. I just knew he was a
At that
wrestler and
point,
all that sort of
right,
thing.
right.
And then he said that one line, and I'm like, that's kind of funny. And that's the
Yeah.
only thing I remember in that entire film. Till this day, that is the only
Yeah.
thing. And
And I
then,
still, I'd never seen that, of course, so I have no idea, but
yeah, Batista's getting it. I think
interesting.
Batista's good in it. But just seeing how he has developed as an actor, like sure, he was pretty good as Drax. Drax is a well written character.
Hmm.
It really played to his strengths of being like a muscly guy plus being very deadpan. But since then, I think he's done some really good performances.
Yeah.
He there was a short part in the Blade Runner, the second one,
Mhm.
where he's only in it for like a good 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and it is so heart wrenching that part that he plays. He's basically playing a guy who's about to die and fighting for his life, and it's like, oh, that really hit me.
Yeah. 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 I, you, you may have seen him in more things than I did.
Yeah, I have.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure of it. But even in the little I've seen, I mean, obviously I've seen him as Drax repeatedly and whatnot. I have seen him in some other stuff though, like making his cameos, because obviously he hasn't had like a huge leading role that I can remember up to this point. I could be mistaken, but I prefer what I see from him on an actual like in terms of just the raw acting talent.
Right.
I prefer what I see from him. I think he definitely is the one that will have more range out of the three that we began this discussion on Mr. Cena, and then Dwayne.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think his range is going to be better. I think he can show a different range of emotions. He has a lot more range in that sense as opposed to just he has a lot more range. He's a bit more versatile in the roles he chooses to play or he has chosen to play. Because like you said, he's trying to be like a serious actor, not just he doesn't want to be like, yeah, former wrestler turned act. Like he just wants to be known as an actor. So I get
Like
it.
he
And
doesn't want to be like 90s Will Smith. I mean, Will Smith doesn't want to be 90s Will Smith. You know what I mean? But Dwayne Johnson is just stuck in that,
yeah,
oh, I gotta, I gotta do a Jumanji or I gotta do a San Andreas. It's just
yeah,
trying to have these franchises and not really testing his acting powers. He's not
yeah.
really going further with it. And then you have Dwayne Batista. Batista's been a villain in Dune. He's a hero in he's the lead character in that Zack Snyder zombie movie, which
Mm.
terrible movie, but he is
Yeah.
fantastic in it. Like, there's the scene where he has to, like, he's dying, and then like he's
Mhm.
telling his daughter, I'm sorry for everything, and I wish there could be more time and all that sort of thing. And then like
Yeah.
I was like, this guy, is like, he's trying to go above and beyond
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
people think he is, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate Batista.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not, right? That's why we do this at the end of the day to break it down. Speaking of which, I just need to. 'Cause did we discuss this already? I can't remember.
What's that?
But because since you mentioned Will Smith, did we talk about King Richard already? I don't want to get into a whole thing about it. It was just recently because it just came to memory because of what you mentioned with him. And I was having a discussion with a friend the other day, and I was basically saying the same thing. Like I'm not a huge because he told me that that Leonardo DiCaprio and Will Smith are his like one and two,
What?
basically
Who said that?
actors. No, this guy, this guy, a guy, I like a friend of mine,
Yeah,
from kind of from up here. You know
Will
what?
Smith
No,
and
no. I'm
and
lying. I'm lying. Let me give him his credit. He did say it was Denzel and Leo. I think he has Denzel one, Leo two. For me, like Leo is my number one, right?
okay.
And then Denzel a very close number two. But I think like after that he was like, yeah, Will Smith is up there with them to him. And I'm like,
What, because of King Richard?
no, not just because of King Richard. He was talking about like his entire portfolio. No, I will be very honest. I did not want to get into a deep discussion because I wasn't going to change his mind. Obviously, since if he's a fan of Will Smith, no, that means he's been there for a while. I am
Right.
not so high on Will Smith as an actor generally. I do think he's good, but there's no way Will Smith cracks my top five or anything like that. And even the reason I mentioned King Richard is because he, as we all know, won an Academy Award for that performance, and that was not even the best performance that he's ever had in a movie.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. But as is usually the case with Will Smith, I feel like every time I watch Will Smith acting, I see Will Smith acting. I could hardly see the character, except for the Pursuit of Happiness. Like that one
Pursuit of
was
Happiness is his best. That's his best.
by far,
I
by
think that's his
far.
best. I liked Emancipation. I liked him in
I
Emancipation,
didn't see
even though
Emancipation,
I
even though the acting was
yeah.
terrible. Yeah.
No, no, no. His acting was pretty good.
No, no, not acting, accent. Because
Oh, accent.
yeah, the movie. I know
Ah,
that it was being ripped because he had like apparently like a very subpar Nigerian accent. So
it's yeah. That's
yeah,
But
that was
he tried. He really,
yeah.
he
I, w-
really.
I wouldn't hold that against him. I wouldn't
I
hold that
really
against him.
wouldn't.
I mean,
He's not a classical. He's not like a classically sort of trained actor. Like, he's not one of those Juilliard
yeah,
types, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
So I
hard.
get it. I wouldn't judge him on that. That's fine.
Like,
Um,
the thing about Will Smith is that I think the best roles is like a something like Hitch. He's a
yeah,
leading. He's a
yeah.
leading. I would say I liked him in After Earth, that really bad movie with M. Night
With
Shyamalan. That
yeah, with his son.
Yeah, with his son.
Yeah, I hated
He
that movie.
The movie's bad. It's
Terrible.
terrible, but I
Yeah,
liked his character in it.
yeah.
So he does take chances. A lot of the times it doesn't work out, and it sucks, but that's why he's going back to Bad Boys.
I cannot tell you how disgusted I was to see that they're making another one of those. I you know what? I don't even want to get into that. I can save that
Yeah.
rant. I can save that rant for another day because there will be more time to talk about that.
Yeah,
That yeah,
we'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. But
good.
well, back before we forget, I wanted to
Hmm.
mention John Cena for a little bit.
Hmm.
So John Cena, I honestly think he's got like really good screen presence. He's got really good comedic
I do
timing.
too. I do too. Yeah.
I mean, Peacemaker, I thought, like, I mean, the rants that he would make on like Batman or something like that, I just thought
Hmm.
those things were kind of funny. I I thought there was a movie that he did with Amy Schumer, and he completely like out comedied her, right? He
Yeah,
out funnied her, which isn't a hard
yeah.
thing to do. It's Amy
I was
Schumer.
just about to say it. I mean, Amy Schumer has to be one of the most overrated in my opinion. But hey,
I would
what
say
do I
so
know?
too.
What do
I
I
would say
know?
so too. But hey, what are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
yeah.
Um, yeah.
No, I
But
get you
yeah,
because he was actually in a. I know the movie you're talking about. I can't remember the name, but he was actually good in Cock Blockers as well. That's a movie I randomly watched and I enjoyed his character in that. That was the one where he himself and some other parents were trying to stop they
stop,
found out that their daughters were trying to lose their virginity on prom night or something like that, and they were trying to stop them.
man. That was funny, right? Like I
It
didn't
it
see
it
it,
kind it kind of was like funny in a corny kind of way. Like I wouldn't
right?
tell you, hey, yeah, you should really watch it. Obviously not, but it was for the fact that I stumbled upon it on TV at the end. It was like I have time to kill. Let me just watch it. It did give me a few laughs. I'm not gonna lie. It did give me a few laughs. Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't bad. And his and I mentioned that because of the fact that you mentioned like his screen presence and being funny. He actually had a very good screen presence in it. Like his chemistry with the lady who played his wife and everything. It was he was funny. He was funny.
But I like him in funny roles rather than
Yeah.
like something like the Marine or like him being like the action lead.
Yeah.
Because it's I think if he does that, it feels like something that he would do, somebody of his build.
Right.
It would
Right.
just be like typecasting at a point, and it's I would rather see somebody else. I would rather see like the guy who's in Reacher. Alan, shit, I forgot his
Yeah,
name.
Alan Rickson.
Rickson,
Yeah.
Richmond or something like
Rich,
that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Like, if any
Rickman,
listeners don't
some
know,
shit.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about the Aquaman from what you call it? The Aquaman from Justice League? No, not Justice League. Shit, Smallville. He's the he's the Aquaman from
Yeah.
Smallville. He's also Dove in the Teen Titans show, the live action show, and he is Raphael from Ninja Turtles. So he's done like a lot of comic book stuff.
Yeah, he has. He has. He has.
But yeah, I would say Dave Bautista I respect more. The Rock,
Okay.
he Dwayne Johnson, he's just been taking a lot of L's lately, like a lot.
So let me ask
And
you a question. As you mentioned that this literally just came to mind. Do you think it is like with regards to Cena that he's potentially going through? Do you think it could be that he's potentially going through that same acting or new actor cycle that The Rock went through? Like where you said when you mentioned like The Rock was playing like the Tooth Fairy, and then he had the movie where he just met his daughter, the same one where he was a quarterback and he had to take care of his daughter, and
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So when he was doing those roles, and then he started to do like the more action movies, like The Walking Tall and stuff. Do you feel like it is kind of the same thing with Cena, or you think that Cena is actually like wanting to like dip his hand into different parts, basically? Like, do you see like do you think Cena's trajectory is to get back to these action roles, like what we started with Peacemaker and whatnot? No, like is he going back that route, or you think
I think
he'll be
he's
try to be like a jack of all trades essentially?
Well, that's to be determined. I haven't really seen anything where he's like trying to do something else rather
Yeah,
than what he's doing.
yeah,
But he is riding that wave of being the funny, big, strong guy.
yeah,
And I think it works for him. Like if there's another season of Peacemaker or something like that, I think that would benefit him. Um, like I think in this whole Zack Snyder stuff, the DCEU or whatever you want to call it,
mm-hmm.
it's the best film that came out of all of that
Mm-hmm.
is the Suicide Squad, and he's part of it. He's part of the reason why
Yeah,
that movie is so good. So I just see him doing that as much as they would have him
right,
do that, like just be in these sort of comedic type roles.
yeah, yeah,
And maybe if something comes along, maybe if Darren Aronofsky or somebody dramatic comes and gives him a role that I'm sure he'll take it. I mean, but I don't see him doing what Dwayne Johnson's doing, which is sort of pushing the brand. Like I need to
Okay.
have
Okay.
this movie has to like I'm not going to cover up my tattoos. Every single character I have is going to have the same tattoos. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't see John Cena being himself over and over again. Is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
Some quick topics I wanted to get into.
Hmm.
Let's well, as I mentioned, Ant-Man, the new Ant-Man movie's not really doing too well. It's
Hmm.
down 73% in the box office. It's on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 43 or 40 something percent, which is crazy because critics give Marvel stuff 80 something, 70 something. Like that, it's always like certified fresh
Yeah.
over at
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes. Like they have like a shield. I think She-Hulk was like in the 90s at one point.
Jeez.
There's a bit of BS there,
Yeah. Clearly.
but for some reason, this Ant-Man movie is the one that everybody's just like, yeah, no, fuck this. This is bad. This is really bad.
Dear. Oh dear.
So is there what is that? Like Marvel fatigue? Like are people finally catching on that maybe the last few phases aren't really that great? The last one?
I think it definitely has to do with Marvel fatigue. It definitely has to do with that. And I mean, listen, I know you and Logs are supposed to be here. Y'all are a lot more into the MCU and DCU than I am. Y'all are as rather have been in it a lot longer.
Yeah.
But I also can't help but feel like there's an element of just obviously I think that there there would be a bit of anticipation surrounding it because it's an MCU. Um, it's the MCU. It's the universe. Is a character from that universe, but at the same time, it's Ant Man though. So I really feel like as much as anticipation was building, it is really Ant Man we're talking about, and I don't know how much interest there is in the like seeing get going so far, going so deeply into that character's world. And I mean, you watched the movie, so you would have to tell me, even though, like, even if in the writing it was more of them building up Ant Man as a character, or if it was the movie was more of a filler for what is to come in the next phase, such as like Doctor Strange. Because I know one of the main points that you lament is the fact that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was essentially black, not black, Scarlet Witch movie.
Yeah. The
So
Scarlet
I
Witch.
basically, so yeah, I don't know if in this case, like it could be too that this movie just came out at the wrong time for it, because with all the two of you, because you even mentioned it yourself, like two of the worst movies that you've seen from the MCU are more two of the more recent ones, Thor 4 and Doctor Strange, the most recent Doctor Strange. So the fact that this has come on the back of this, on the back of those movies, and the fact that it's Ant Man, I feel like all of that would contribute to it just not doing well at this point in time.
The external issues with this movie, not even touching on the story or whatever, is that Ant-Man has already established itself as the not the most important of the the Marvel stuff. I mean, Ant-Man
Mm,
is more of a comedic sort of
yeah.
thing. It's definitely like fun. Like it's a dude who shrinks and grows and all that sort of thing. And the action sequences are actually well done in the first two films.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but there's not really any sort of excitement when you hear Ant-Man. So that's a
Mm,
hurdle it has to jump over. Then you have
hmm.
uh well, if it would have, I think it did come out in the wrong time because
Hmm.
if it came out before Eternals, before Thor: Love and Thunder before that, if those movies did not exist, and
Yeah.
this was the movie that came out right after Endgame, I think it would have it would definitely have done better financially. I don't know if people would have liked the story still,
Right.
but it would
Okay.
have been better.
Been able to capitalize on the
Yeah,
capital. Yeah.
yeah, because
I got you.
I feel I do feel like it's just and it's not just Marvel fatigue, it's bad Marvel fatigue
Yeah.
because uh, you're just talking about disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. I mean, the real reason why Black Adam really didn't catch on is because the lead in
Hmm.
wasn't that great. Like what movie
Mm.
came before that
Before, yeah.
it didn't come after like a success. So, and sometimes it's your lead in that is sort of the problem. Like after The Last Jedi, Star Wars The Last Jedi, there was a big disappointment from the fans, and then after that Solo didn't make any money. So, you have to sort of look at that too.
Hmm.
And then when you get into
Hmm.
the movie itself is very disappointing because I mean Kang really was like I think Jonathan Majors did a really great job,
Yeah.
and I think
I won't
it's
doubt that at
definitely
all.
his year.
Yeah.
But this can't be the new. I mean, it's so convoluted, his entire backstory and all of
Oh,
that, the
really?
whole
Yeah.
multiverse thing. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it's because I'm a boomer. Maybe I just and well, I mean, this storyline came out before I was even born, so I don't know if it's that, but I just I don't connect to the multiverse thing.
Hmm.
Like it's cool when they bring all the Spider-Mans together, but like when you're starting to talk to me about like there's this multiversal war and we have to there's this big fight that we have to do and Kang is like this new bad guy who's like trying to destroy all the multiverse. It's like, well, I don't really give a shit. I mean, you can kill you can kill Mr. Fantastic 100 times, and then in the next one, another one will just pop up. Like, who
Yeah. Yeah.
cares? Like, I don't. It's just I don't. It's bad.
S-
It's just
So
it's boring.
that was your main qualm with it, like the whole multiverse aspect of it, as in with Quantumania, I mean.
Yeah, and I didn't like
Okay.
that going in, so obviously
Yeah.
it's going to affect my enjoyment of the film. But I mean, they established it in Loki the first season, and
Right.
I was just like, man, this is some bullshit. I don't like any of this. Like they kind of took away free will because Jonathan Majors' character, there was a one version of him that has everything in a sacred timeline and everything is written. So when the Avengers saved the world, it was like it was supposed to happen, and it wasn't of free will. It was just like this other thing, and I'm just like, why?
Interesting.
I hate this. I hate this so much. It's so frustrating, and
Mm.
I don't care. Like I just really don't care about any of that stuff. Like, yeah, I like Kang, I like Ant-Man. I think Paul Rudd is great in this role, but
Yeah.
it's all in service of this new phase, which means nothing to me.
I get that. I get that. I get that.
Since we're having Marvel fatigue,
Mhm.
I mean, we're getting there with Marvel, but we've already been there with Star Wars, right? And
Fuck yeah.
I'm glad to see that we're not the only ones because Liam Neeson just came out and says Star Wars is being hurt by so many spin-offs and it's taking away from the mystery and the magic of Star Wars. And I'm just like, yes, finally, somebody is
Yeah.
saying what we're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty accurate. I don't know if I've ever vocalized it in that fashion, in any of my rants on it, but I said it in a different way, and I've been saying it for a very long time now. Disney has ruined Star Wars, and it's. But Liam Neeson is right. To join that to what I said, it's not just that they've ruined it with like producing shitty shows; is that they're ruining it by producing too many shitty shows. Like what he said is absolutely correct. There really isn't a need to have every single thing in the universe explained at this point, like to and even the ones that are supposed to be the most important, like the fucking Obi-Wan series, was they just made that into an absolute joke.
I
You
mean,
know what?
I could vouch for that because I saw the Andor series and it
Yeah.
felt like the makers of that show cared more about that than than the people who actually did the uh the Obi-Wan show.
Obi-Wan. So one of my coworkers he keeps asking me if I watch Andor because he knows I'm a Star Wars fan, but
Right.
he this man likes everything. So I don't really yeah, I don't really take his word for it. It's just be like out of courtesy, I kind of ask, yeah, so what do you think of it was good. Because he did tell me he said that Ant-Man, the new Ant-Man was good to him. So I'm I take everything he says with a pinch of salt. And he didn't
Right.
disappoint me by saying that about Ant-Man. But he did say that that the Andor series, he said compared to other Star Wars series he had watched, like he actually enjoyed this one a bit more, and that it seemed like it was well made. He did say that. I'll give him that credit in that regard. I haven't watched Andor's yet because I personally do have Star Wars fatigue of because of Obi-Wan. I'll be very honest. After Obi-Wan, and bro, this is supposed to be my favorite franchise. This is my favorite franchise of all time,
Yeah.
and it just kind of really got to me after Obi because and everyone besides yourself and like logs, every single other person I speak to, like they don't understand why this, like just talking about that still triggers me to this day. To this
They don't
day.
understand what? They don't understand why you don't like Obi-Wan?
Yeah, because everyone sees it from I guess I haven't spoken to anyone who is like a die-hard or like a true Star Wars fan. And
They're
I
seeing it
don't
from a
even
normie point of view.
yeah, exactly. From just like the average rule, because like one of my other coworkers was like, well, he understands. He said, all right, well, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but I guess it's not that deep for me because I'm not that into Star Wars. Like I've played the game, so I'm just kind of interested in seeing how Disney's now like bringing out all these new characters because of games and whatnot. And I'm like, all right, cool, that's fair. I'm the complete opposite to that. I don't play the games, but I'm more interested in like the actual storylines and like it Link, it triggers me. It's still true. Like I still get upset thinking about that series because the Obi-Wan series is supposed to be the single most important sequence or series of events that takes place outside of that original like what we had before Disney took over. So
Right.
in everything that Disney has made since they took over this franchise, Obi-Wan is supposed to be the most important, the most poignant and everything. And it was just an absolute fucking train wreck. And to this day, I cannot think about that without getting triggered by it.
And
And because of that, it's just kind of stopped me from wanting to see Andor.
yeah, and it's that's what's the frustrating thing about Andor. It's like, wait, what? This has a plot? What? The
Yeah.
character actually has some depth to him? Like these characters are actually fleshed out? Like I'll tell you what, my favorite character
Mm-hmm.
in all of Disney Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite character is Luthen Rail, who is played by Stellan Skarsgård. This
Okay.
man is an absolute badass. He has one of the best monologues where it just sort of puts in like it's sort of like the manifesto of the rebel, the rebel alliance, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Like this show makes the rebel alliance seem so like hardcore and so like it's there's a desperation that they need to overcome, the empire. Like the empire
Yeah.
is shown like such a malevolent, you know omnipresent force that you just can't
Mm-hmm.
escape from. Like the stormtroopers aren't just bumbling. Like when you see them in the Mandalorian or like in the Book of Boba Fett, they're basically have the same agency as the putties from Power Rangers. You know what I mean? Like you tap them and they fall over. Like like they pose no threat. There is no
Yeah,
threat.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I agree with that. Yeah. Oh shit, that was funny though.
right? Like remember in episode 4, like they actually had to sneak into the Death Star, they had to hide, they had to like duck behind a thing. Nobody
Yeah,
does that anymore.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
no one does that anymore because the stormtroopers, they don't have, they can't even see. They shoot you, they miss all the time. So, and when you're joking about that in your universe, that is a problem,
yeah. I
right?
was just about to say because I mean, it was one thing when back in the day we used to like have this like that running gag about the stormtroopers just not being able to hit anyone with the um not being
With the
able to hit
blasters, yeah.
anything with their blasters, correct. But it is completely different when you make them like a whole laughing stock and a mockery and just kind of like figurines, like you said, like the putties from fucking Power Rangers. So I
Right.
sorry, yeah, yeah, and it is a problem. I was just agreeing with your point that it is a problem indeed.
Yeah, because that's sort of the Marvel thing where yeah, you have a villain that could be terrifying, that could be,
Mhm.
that could actually, make your heroes better, test their mental or basically test their strengths.
Yeah.
And then in Star Wars, well, the new Marvel movies, like the bad guys are just, bumbling idiots that the hero just takes over like nothing. I mean, you like all I gotta say is Modoc.
Well,
People who have seen Ant-Man knows what I'm talking about, but
yeah,
Modoc, just it's just the worst. Think of any character that is the worst character, the worst adapted character from a comic book, and I will bet you that Modoc is
Moloch
worse.
is worse. Damn.
It is the worst. It is the worst thing. It's worse than Deadpool when they sewed up his mouth. It's worse
Shit.
than a Green Lantern. It's the worst.
Wow.
Yeah, I miss the Fox X-Men movies. I'll say that. Like the Fox X-Men movies,
Yeah,
some of them may be really bad, but they're not this bad. They
yeah.
don't they didn't make fun of their material to this point. Like
I
when you
mean, it
see
should
Thor
be
Love
out
and Thunder
on.
and
Yeah, I still haven't even finished that as yet. Um,
well, you don't have to. Don't worry about it.
Ant-Man should
And
be out on streaming services soon enough, though. So
yeah, it's this bathos bullshit where everything
yeah,
has to be a joke. You have to make fun of everything. Oh, people have funny names. Oh, we got to make fun of that. Oh, your name is Otto Octavius. What, like an octopus? Your name is Doctor Octopus? Ha ha ha! Yeah. It's just, they've been making that joke for 20 years. The whole name thing. Remember when
yeah,
Wolverine is like, so what do they call you? Wheels?
yeah, yeah,
We're done with that.
yeah. In fact, they remember that line. Oh shit.
How many times are we going to make the same goddamn joke? You know
I
what I mean?
feel no, I got you completely. I agree. I agree. It's fucking tired, man.
Yeah. So that's the thing about Andor. It's actually a pretty good show.
Hmm.
And if they led with this, I would have been like, okay, yeah, Disney's really going somewhere serious with this. But it's just there's too many. It's just too many things
Yeah.
at this point, like and everything has to be fleshed out. We have to see everything. If we have to see the origin story of Yoda's walking stick or something like that, we have to see the tree that he cut it down and made the, you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm tired of prequels, man. I'm so tired of prequels. Like everything is just a before time began, that's where when you have completely screwed up your franchise is when you're doing a
Mhm.
prequel, or you have nothing.
Yeah.
You do a prequel.
When it was announced basically that they were going to do like that, like the Obi-Wan, and it would be based on, that time frame between episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. There is that is a lot of potential to work with. there's a lot of potential to work with, and they just like completely shit the bed. You could tell that the people who made it, like, they never watched any of the original trilogies. You could just tell. It almost seemed to have absolutely no bearing or have no relation to the events that took place in that original trilogy, or both of them, obviously, because again, it's right between these trilogies, um the ending of one and the beginning of another, right?
Yeah.
And you could just tell that they just it was like, all right, well, fuck what happened in the past. We're just going to do it all we know, and that is what to me was most. Listen, if something is not for me, usually I'd say it's not for me. I've never watched a Harry Potter movie. I've never read a Harry Potter book. Harry Potter is not my thing. But I am not stupid enough to say that it is shit. Like, Harry Potter is what it is. It is one of the highest grossing franchises ever, not just from the movies and books, but obviously the games, like everything else. Like, it's incredible for what it is, right? That's not for
Yeah.
me. But that's why I feel so strongly about what Disney did to Star Wars, because this is supposed to be my thing, right? It's supposed to be my thing. And fine, you know what? Do what you want with the Mandalorian and Boba Fett. Like, we didn't really care too much. Like, Boba Fett didn't need to have an origin story, like as you alluded to just now. Him specifically, who cares, honestly? But you made it, and you did whatever to introduce your new character.
Yeah.
Cool.
Who cares that he came out of the? I mean, yeah,
No, sorry, not
we
not origin
always,
story, yeah, but we didn't need to see. It wasn't an origin story, but we didn't need
yeah, we didn't need to see
to
him
see
get
what
out of the
happened.
Salak pit,
Correct.
and
Like, who cares?
like he did nothing important. Like, he made friends with sand people. He became like the
He did
dumbest
nothing.
mafia boss ever. Like, it's
He did
like,
absolutely nothing. It was useless. It was absolutely useless. It was just to introduce Cobb Vanth. And but then it's the fact that it took the Obi-Wan series to do that as well, and just completely ignored everything, all of the aspects that made Star Wars such a unique franchise. Like, even down to like a lightsaber, not being able to kill anyone anymore.
yeah,
And
and,
I
and
don't, I don't want to relive all of that. I, that is just not, honestly, because I can't think about this series without wanting to like to go off the rails. So
yeah, I'm not really interested in anything new related to Star Wars. I think I'm out. Andor was fine, but I mean, what else do you? What else can you do with that? Like, they haven't come up with a movie yet because no one knows what to do. Like, they have
yeah,
no idea. I mean, nobody wants to see a trilogy by Ryan Johnson, especially after what he did with The Last Jedi. Nobody wants to see a Taika Waititi Star Wars, especially after Thor: Love and Thunder.
yeah.
Nobody wants to see a Patty Jenkins Star Wars movie because Wonder Woman 84 was so terrible. So it's like, I mean, make a new Disneyland attraction and just make it a franchise that has Disneyland attractions. Just don't. I mean, yeah, you can make like a cartoon or something like that, but that's what it is now. It's a TV thing. You can't make movies
Sadly,
of this anymore. Nobody wants to go.
sadly, that's what they've reduced it to.
All right, so our last topic, since we're gonna
Mhm.
we basically put Marvel and Star Wars to bed. We're done with them forever.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know how much of a way back there is. I still may try to watch Andor though.
I would
Just
say watch that and then just wash your hands of all of it.
okay, yeah, that seems very possible. Yeah.
Yeah, just you know how it's going to end with Andor. I mean,
Mhm.
Rogue One. You
Yeah.
basically see how
Yeah.
he ends. So, just I would say check that out and then just rest in peace, Star Wars. It's been real,
Damn shame.
and that's just it. That's it. Um, as for Marvel, good luck with your multiverse shit. Okay, like,
Yeah, I'll let you know how that goes when I get into
yeah,
that fight. Yeah.
but, yeah, You know what would be cool? Like Phase 5, Galactus, Doctor Doom,
Yeah,
the big guys, Magneto,
yeah.
you got the X-Men back. Like do something with, and what do we have? Kang? Who the fuck is that? Who is that? Who gives a
Oh
shit?
shit.
And the big guys aren't even there. There's no Black Panther, there's no Iron Man, there's no Captain America. There's no Loki. We get like a different version of Loki, a pussy version of Loki. We don't have the
Yeah.
real Loki. We don't have the real Thor. We don't like what is happening? What are we Yeah, good luck with the Marvels. The new movie they're coming out with Brie Larson that they had to push back like months and months. This is probably like the fifth time they're pushing that movie back. Nobody wants
Oh
to
yeah,
see it. Just
that
dump it on
Brie.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus.
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah,
I honestly forgot
everybody
about that.